Now, with the warm stretch of weather, it's been downright hot. There have been plenty of motorcyclists out on the road, and we hope you've been paying close attention. Look twice, you might save a life. To all those riders out there on two wheels. Jeff Kelley, he's an attorney with Harding & Associates. He's here on this first Friday of each month. He's an avid motorcyclist. He's been riding for upwards of 30 years, and he's been practicing law for 25 of those years. And coming off the 4th of July weekend, weather practically perfect here in the city. Motorcycle riders all over the place.
That's true, and happy 4th to everyone. I hope that all the motorcyclists out there had a safe weekend.
That's what we're hoping for, but a lot didn't, and you were telling me that you're already starting to see some cases.
Yes, and what we're a very troubling thing that we're seeing is the increased activity of drivers that are motorcyclists that are being run off the road, a hit and run type thing, or a phantom driver, where the at-fault driver doesn't stop.
They either did, for whatever reason, they didn't see the person, they maybe didn't even know that they ran the guy off the road. So What's the next process for the rider involved in a situation like that?
Well, what we try to do is give information to our clients, and I'd like the listeners to understand also that you can protect yourself by using UIM insurance that you can obtain for your own coverage on your policy for your own motorcycle.
Is that something that we can opt out of as motorcycle riders when we're going for that policy? You know, you're looking to save as much money as you can, and you see those letters, you might not think it's a big deal, and so you just decide, nah, you know what, we're not going to do that.
That's very important. You have to decline that coverage, or your carrier has to provide it for you.
Interesting.
Yes.
So now another level of safety, you can see it here, you just can't mistake it, is the riding jacket.
Right, that's one level of protection. I always try to bring in something that gives the viewer an opportunity to see what they can wear. This is a high visibility jacket. You can tell it's got the high visibility green on it.
Kevlar in the elbows and the back just in case something happens.
Right, and the Cordura 500 material. This is a mesh jacket, so it's so hot out right now that no one wants to wear a leather jacket or any jacket. So, this is a good alternative. It's a textile, but it does allow airflow so that it's literally, you can hardly feel that it's on.
Now, why during the summer months is airflow important? I mean, as riders, we both know why, but maybe out there they don't.
Well, you and I are just talking about, you're sitting at a stoplight, you're waiting, it's hot, you have a helmet on, you need some airflow to keep your thoughts about you and not reduce your being hydrated.
You know, I have a personal experience. I was out on the roads, dressed like I would be on a winter day, stuck in traffic. And you were saying keeping your wits about it, you start to boil in that thing like a baked potato, and you're hot, and you're like, man, I need to get moving. And you can actually make some very poor decisions.
Well, we've talked about keeping your thoughts about you as you're riding, knowing what's next to you, what's behind you, ahead of you, and so on. And staying cool, having the right gear is a good approach to that.
Now let's jump back to the insurance coverage side of things. When you were talking the uninsured motorists,
yes,
how is that a bigger deal now than it was years ago?
Well, you know, 1 in 7 drivers are not insured. So,
which doesn't sound like a lot.
Well, it is. Where the reality really comes home is if you have an accident or you're injured, you need to look to your own insurance. And if you do not have UIM coverage, then you're not going to have any source of recovery from an injury caused by an uninsured or underinsured. An uninsured driver could be either another driver with no insurance, or could be the driver that runs you off the road, doesn't stop. That's the phantom driver. An underinsured driver would be someone who has the minimum policy limits required by Colorado, which is $25,000. That's not a lot of coverage. So if you have, let's say you have 100,000 UIM on your own motorcycle, that would be on top of what the other driver would have. It's called stacking. So that's what we'd like the listeners to really understand. And I'm happy to take calls if anyone has questions about that after the show. You may also benefit from having coverage on another vehicle, such as your passenger car. That coverage follows you and will be another level of insurance that you'll stack on top of what the coverage is that you have on your motorcycle.
So So because a lot of motorcycle riders, especially here, we can't ride 12 months out of the year, though we wish we could. So you're saying
Correct.
that the cars that we're driving in the winter months could have enough coverage to get us to where we need to be on the motorcycle.
That's a good point. That coverage is always there for you, either as a motorcycle rider or driving your own automobile or being in someone else's motor vehicle. Your coverage helps protect you with that extra layer of protection. The other one that we can talk about briefly is MedPay coverage.
Yeah.
Medical payment coverage is another optional coverage that you can select when you're purchasing your insurance, and a minimum amount would be $5,000. It's another one of those that you have to decline if you're not going to take it.
But you recommend taking it?
Yes.
So it's nice that you have to say no to it, because then it's almost you have to opt out, which is the difference of opting in.
That is why it's set up that way. The legislature does not want people not realizing that they have that coverage available. And a recent example of this is a lady who just hired our firm who had a hit and run situation on her Harley, and she had 4 different policy coverages that I can tell you briefly. She had coverage on her motorcycle. Mm-hmm. That's all she has. She has $100 to compensate her for her injuries. She has a pickup truck with another 100,000 and then she has a medical pay policy of $5,000 on her motorcycle and $5,000 on her truck. So we are stacking, we're putting those coverages together for her. And then we can deal with her health insurance that's paying for her bills. So
it's complicated, and it is something that motorcycle riders, you put it in the back of your mind, but you're like, look, man, I just want to get out and feel the wind and see the sights that Colorado has to offer. So keep this in mind. When you have questions, legal questions, call Jeff or his colleagues, Phil Harding. We'd love to hear from you. Just log on to coloradosbest.tv, look for Phil's photo, click there, and they will take the time to answer each of your questions personally. It's good to talk to you on this Friday morning. All right, to contact Harding and his associates, 303-762-9500. Online, you'll find them at hlaw.org.